Miceman.
0xFFFF.
Bad Roots, the handle. Italy, from Rome.
Brandon Reynolds. I am from Peoria, Illinois, just a little bit south of Chicago.
Travis Riley. I'm a solutions architect.
My name is Ellie Green. I am a TCSM or Technical Customer Success Manager. I'm actually the lead for the TCSM team.
Miles Tut. I'm the Senior Manager for Pen Testing Operations.
Ariel Little. I am a Technical Pen Test Manager.
My name is Eric. The username on the platforms today is new. I'm from Canada, outside Toronto, or more specifically, Waterloo, the home of the Blackberry, if that makes any sense.
So what I'd say in general, in terms of why I started Bugcrowd, it was two things. One was to connect the latent potential of the security research community and all of their ingenuity with all of the problems that exist, at that point in time and into the future in cyber defense. For the purpose of being able to outsmart, a set of creative adversaries that were going to evolve as well, right? So that's the product. The other thing I wanted to do, having grown up as a hacker, is to change the operating environment. I think hackers come from a history where, we were afraid, frankly. Like the stuff that we loved, the stuff that we were doing, it was broadly viewed as criminal, even though it wasn't. And for starters, that sucks, right? Just full stop. But what it also does is creates a chilling effect around our ability to actually help, right? So those were the two main reasons. So the other piece with trust is hackers trusting companies. And it kind of goes to what I just said around why I wanted to change it. The average hacker does have at least some sort of damn the man, kind of anti-establishment, like rule-breaking component in their character. They inherently don't necessarily trust the organizations to do the right thing when they try to help. So this idea of like, how can we, sit in between an organization that doesn't necessarily look trustworthy from the hacker's point of view, and actually create that trust in that direction as well. I think we talk a lot about helping companies trust hackers, but it does actually work in the opposite direction too.
I think I started in the 80s. Yeah. I'm that old.
Actually, I started hacking when I was 14. I was hacking like Messenger. I was trying to find some bugs in Messenger when I was very, very young. And then I started to get curious about computers in general. And I found all these hacking forums, where I could learn some hacking techniques, something like that. And it was amazing, yeah.
I would say it's probably been since I was about 14 years old. Always had a real love for tearing things apart, seeing if I put them back together and they still work, and kind of reverse engineering how everything functions. So 37 now, so that would be what, like 20 plus years? So.
Cyber, 8 years.
Yes, it's been 8 years now since my daughter was born.
Besides the day job and besides riding around on the motorbike and catching up with friends and family, more hacking,
I used to be a CTO in a startup company. Not doing that anymore. I run my own business since many years back, so God knows, I do everything.
Since I moved to Lisbon like February, I'm trying to learn how to do surfing, which is very, very nice because in Italy it's complicated because the waves they are not for surfing at all. You can only do kite surfing. Apart from that, I swam for 15 years. Also professionally. I also had like a past as DJ, like also as producer, so I produce some electronic music.
Outside of, just the general reverse engineering and hacking, I have a family. So I have a wife and 2 children. One is 13 and one is 10. So I spend a lot of time with them, just trying to have as much fun as possible. Especially with COVID and everything happening lately, it's been hard to find a lot of fun things to do, especially when you're from Illinois and live in the middle of the cornfields.
I'm a big chef. I cook for like lots of groups of people. I come from a music background, so I sing. I play board games, I organize events and stuff like that. That's my thing.
I do a lot. Like if I'm not just studying something random online, chatting with some of my cyber buddies, Discord, we play games sometimes, like group games that we can play. Just spending time outside of the house because I do work a lot. When I'm not working, I'm either asleep or outside.
I hang out with my cats and I read and I play video games. That's it, I'm not very exciting.
I'm lucky to have a wonderful family and 8 and 4-year-old daughters. Lots of playing, enjoying life. I like to be active. Mindfulness or meditation, been working on projects there. Using AI recently to build out some tools to try to, kind of like hacking happiness, to bring more goodness into the world.
Trust, I would say. Like trust is a huge thing. I think what we're doing is inherently, it's provocative, right? We're basically asking customers to invite us to point out their flaws so they can go off and fix them. And not everyone's ready to have that kind of conversation. It's far better and it's far more secure if they are, but in reality, that's not always true. And I think that, the perception of what a hacker is, especially when we started back in 2012, it's like the idea that you could be a locksmith and not a burglar with the skill set, that was foreign to people. So we had to do a lot of education around the fact that hacking's not inherently good or bad, it's a skill set. And that there are, the good versions that, think bad but do good in the way that I do, right? Like I kind of enjoy thinking like a criminal, I just don't want to be one. Like teaching the market that exists, that took a bit of time. And still contributes to some of the questions that we need to answer today when it comes to trust.
I like to think that my role is kind of like the first line of defense that a program comes into. Like I'm like a hacker advocate. I'm one of the first people to really focus those issues. And so one of the things we talk about a lot is like, hey, having a large reward pool and having top rewards doesn't mean you're going to lose a bunch of money. It means you're going to gain a lot of value because hackers only want to go to programs that are rewarding well and look like the program owners are engaged. And so having that high reward pool or high rewards is like actually a really positive thing. And then having a large scope and target surface for people to look into, that's also really important. And it's like, I think I've been able to show customers over time the benefits of those things and help them understand that. And it's been really successful.
I don't even mean this in a negative way, but part of my role is recently we started the initiative where there are a couple of programs on our platform that have like backed up submissions or a backlog, if you will. And we've started to like get on clients, customers, program owners, whatever you want to call them, to like pay out the submissions. The submissions shouldn't stay for more than 2 weeks max because we do have SLAs, terms and conditions. We have to make sure that we adhere to them. We do, as well as the customer. I think the most difficult about the relationship, that initiative, if you will, is having customers understand the sense of urgency, having us customers understand that, if it wasn't for the researchers, that bug or bugs wouldn't have been found. So we need to make sure that we get them rewarded and show our appreciation. I think that's the most difficult. Like I can walk into a cargo ship on fire and just walk out with a fire hose and just be fine. But it's like certain stuff, like when it comes to telling the client, like, hey, you need to hurry up and do something, they don't have that sense of urgency. So it's like me repeating myself, which is my pet peeve, constantly repeating myself to help just clients, not to be like negative or anything, but like just to have clients make sure that they're taking care of the researchers.
Oh wow. To meet such a diverse range of talented individuals is quite an overwhelming experience. Yeah, to be able to see these people face to face and to work with them hands on with some of these technical challenges has been quite an experience. Yeah.
It's quite humbling, isn't it? It's an amazing family in that sense, the Hacker Fam. It's lots of hugs and it's like seeing faces. You see them online, you see them on different places, on different conferences all around the world, and it's quite nice. Getting here to see them hacking live with it together, it brings you to the next step. It's just this blur of impulse or whatever you call that stuff.
Very good. Actually, it's amazing to meet like people that love hacking like me because you can share ideas. You can find many bugs by sharing ideas, and maybe you got only a piece of information and your friend is going to give you another piece of information that you can just merge together and find a more impactful bug or just make the severity higher. And yeah, that's it. So it's amazing to share like hacking techniques or something like that.
Oh, it's been wonderful. The group that I was originally with, we were kind of Team USA and Team International. Many of them I've worked with over the years, but I've never really even seen their faces or their real names. So getting to spend some time with them and work with them and be able to work with them in real time has just been amazing.
My coworkers, I've now met some of them before. Now we're at that point, so we have kind of friendship, good camaraderie going on. And the hackers, it's the first time I'm meeting basically anyone, and everyone is super cool, down to earth, and they're able to like, they have a certain attitude about them, which I also have. internally. And maybe I'm a little bit more professional, but not a lot more professional, you know.
It's fun because, like I said, I spend most of my time at home. While I work from home, I'm 100% remote. So it's always interesting seeing people that I've seen on Zoom a million times. Like, they don't look alike. It's the same person, but you just don't look alike. But it's always just interesting just to meet people I actually work with and get to know them and talk to them more. And then the hackers, of course, like, we wouldn't be who we are, where we are if it weren't for them. So it's always good to, one, see that many of them are down to earth and super humble and willing to talk to you and willing to give advice to people who may be like interested in getting into bug bounty or pen testing. They're just super chill and super cool. So I like it a lot.
Fantastic. You spend so much time online and so much time working, and you kind of put together in your mind sort of what they like, I guess. It's you know, like listening to someone on the radio so long and then you see what they like, it's kind of throws it off, but it's nice to sort of put a face to a name, and I think you can go away with, you know, a bit of a better understanding of who they are and what they do, and, you know, how you can work together in the future.
It's awesome. I talk to a ton of people online all the time on different social media platforms and then on Slack with my coworkers, so getting to put a name to a face is always really nice.
You get the pictures in your head who you think they look like, and then you see them in real life and you're like, that's not you. So it's wonderful to meet up. Virtual is cool and it's great, and at the same time a close second to what we're doing right now, talking in this way.
It's incredible, like walking into the room, you know, seeing a customer. I think the first thing that was incredible about this one, and it often happens with these events, you see a customer that's kind of a little terrified because they understand what's going on, but they're curious, they're leaning in, they're excited. You know, they're actually talking to the hackers are talking to the customer, and it's kind of an IRL version of what we do online, right? I always love seeing that. I love bringing people, even people from the company that haven't necessarily seen it before, because to me it's like the easiest way to explain what we actually do, right? So that's always fun. You know, I know a lot of the people in the room half the time, so they're not folk that I see all that often in real life. So it's, you know, we'll say hello and high five and swap stories and do things like that. They'll tend to do all their show off stuff. You know, if I rock up, it's like, oh, it's founders here. Okay, let's do the cool thing. And that's always kind of fun. You know, to me, it's just such a positive reflection of the fact that, like, cats and dogs can get along. Like, I've got a talk that I do called The Unlikely Romance, because this idea of hackers and companies being able to actually play nice and exchange value is so counterintuitive still to a lot of folk. Like, when you see it in the flesh, I think that's a pretty amazing thing. There's a lot of things I love about it.
Scope. Got luckily to be invited, thank heavens for that. And when you heard about the scope, you can't say no. It's just, fuck yeah. MGM scope this year in the hardware is amazing. Clayton, Steven, love you.
Yeah, unique hardware that would normally not be accessible to people in other circumstances. So yeah, being able to see what's underneath the hood and pull things apart and see how they operate is definitely where I'm at. So,
amazing.
Yeah, being able to find tools and techniques to be able to defeat these technologies and expose those to those people that want to harm their equipment is quite a fun.
We talked about a little bit fun about that, Ocean's 11 in 15 minutes.
Because I like the clients, I thought I could find some very good bugs for this event. And also because I wanted just to meet my friends, just to work with them, you know, in a program, and because these events are very nice.
I chose to accept it simply because it was something new and interesting, and I just really wanted to experience it. And then on top of that, you never really get the chance to work with the type of hardware that we got to work with here, and it was very interesting to be able to do so.
Bugcrowd's been incredibly kind and supportive for all the years, and wanted to come and connect and see the staff which connected with and the people, and enjoying the space and hacking.
Yeah, actually it's my first Bug Bash. Last year I participated in an HackerOne event, but yeah, it's my first.
It's my first Bug Bash, my first live event, and it's been a really interesting event.
Yes. Last year I was a little green to come to the Bug Bash, so I ended up staying at home. And this year I'm the technical lead or something like that on both of the things. Excited to take on the in-person tasks that we need to handle.
Yes. I thought it was going to be very chaotic. I thought I was going to be running around like a chicken without a head, just everywhere. I do that anyway, but like more.
I'm just here to crash the party. I'm not actually involved in the bug bash as the bounty side of the business, but I know a lot of the guys who are in it. They're on my pen testing bench, so. But in terms of attending for the bug bash, yeah, but not first time for the DEF CON in Vegas and stuff.
This is not. I have never actually worked the bash myself, but I was here last just kind of meeting people and hanging out with the researchers, and I'm kind of doing that again this year.
No, I've been lucky to be to two previous. This is the first one after a worldwide shutdown.
Oh, this one is much better. We do the hardware hacking. So the setup this year with the labs and everything is super much more fun. It's an awesome target in scope and all that stuff. We're having a blast.
The team, the RS team, Violet, Omar, Jillian, MC, former RS, been doing really well. Like they've organized it. It's way more organized than it was last year, but everyone's calm and collective and things are going good.
Fantastic. I mean, they've got some incredible talent, and some of these guys out here, I've worked with them myself on the pen testing side, and they're super friendly. Everyone's willing to help. You know, they join together and make their little teams, and even the best guys that we've got here have picked up and learned stuff from, you know, less experienced guys too. So it's such a broad spectrum of things that you can work with. So everyone's chill, everyone's friendly. Great.
This one seems more streamlined, definitely. Everyone seems to be a little more calm and just enjoying themselves. Last year seemed a little stressful. It's good to see everybody kind of smiling and just having a good time.
Yeah, discovery of some of the exploits.
Yeah, man.
Some of them, wow, that was a little bit easy. Some of them are, wow, I can't believe we achieved that. Yeah, and being able to do so with a complementary tool set. So not just my experience, but the experience of others together to make that a reality.
Yeah, the synergy effects is like amazing.
Yeah.
The best part is always the closing ceremony when everybody's like, when you get the prizes, when everybody's happy, you know, you get the happy hour, and you can just be sure that you made a good impact for the customer, so the customer is happy, the hackers are happy, the crowd is happy, so everybody's happy. Maybe it's the best part, yeah.
I would say my favorite part has honestly just been finally meeting a lot of the Bug Crowd crew, meeting the other people that I work with, and then also getting to dive into some really cool equipment, stuff that would probably land me in jail if I was to try to do it on my own. So being able to go here and do it legally and help these guys out and make sure they're safe has been really awesome.
I'm very excited to see some talks at DEF CON this year, to see the Social Engineering Village. There's going to be a competition where people are going to be live cold calling companies and like trying to finesse information out of them. And that's something that doesn't get streamed online ever, so it's an in-person only thing. And this is my first time at DEF CON, so I'm excited to see that. And then stuff that I've already done, we did karaoke with the hackers, and it was a great time, and some of them are like excellent, so.
I was gonna say, what hacker was the best singer?
Spectres. Yeah, he's the GOAT.
I just love getting to meet the people. As a technical pen test manager, I work a lot with some of the guys that are here in the bash, so getting to actually meet them and, you know, these people I talk to every day is really cool.
There's been really cool swag, which has been really kind of the people who have created and the effort. A really cool belt. That's pretty, I think a lot of heart and effort goes into, making and creating all the really cool parts that sum up the event in the whole. Just being able to experience that, the connection.
Hacker juice.
Hacker juice, yeah. The excitement of it all and the opportunity to find another exploit, yeah.
Yes.
More
Yeah.
time, more things get broken.
Really, really good to see those things. Yeah. Hard to sleep at night sometimes, but that's what it is.
Hacking is like a lifestyle. I mean, you can teach some hacking techniques. If you want to go like over that, you should have some inner things like curiosity, the willing to win, to be sure that you should always believe that there is something, there is more. You can just escalate a finding to prove impact. Actually, many people just get discouraged from that, from not having like a good impact in first instance. But I guess that if you put a lot of effort, if you believe in yourself and you are like motivated enough to be sure that there is something, you can always escalate an impact, and there is always something in every application. There is always something to be found and something to be like escalated. So I would say the best traits are like curiosity, I would say out of box like mindset,
I kind of do this, I would say maybe 10, 15 hours a week at most. So I have a normal job that I do security work for as well. And then I do this kind of just on the side to keep my interest in, and it's more of a hobby that I enjoy. Just making sure that I keep changing the subject of what I'm working on, kind of keeps it fresh and not going stale.
I've organized my life where my computer gives me 30 minutes to hack, and then the screen locks, and then I have to walk for 10 minutes. A guided meditation plays on my phone to force myself to do the healthy, important things. So at the end of the day, I could work 8 hours, and then I've walked for a couple of them, meditated for a couple hours, so it just really helps to avoid burnout. And once you remove the burnout and you take care of your mental and physical health, then it's still fun. Just as interesting as 8 years ago first starting, because if you get to do something you love and you enjoy and it's fun, then you really don't have to work each day, even though you are.
We like hacker juice.
This is not an ad for Red Bull.
No, it's
And we like vodka as well.
yeah, it's missing vodka. No, it's the go-to drink. Red Bull vodka.
Is there any like food involved? Is there any like
Oh, foods. Steaks.
as a snack?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I drink a lot of coffee. I used to drink a lot of Red Bull in the past, but now I just try to, I'm getting old, I try to get very easy with that because it's...
So I would think my go-to snack would be Red Bull, but that's not really a snack. Yeah, same answer every time. Yeah, outside of that, beef jerky, chips, stuff like that.
Favorite snack while I'm working. I really like these Korean chips. They're tteokbokki chips. They're like crispy and tubular, but they're hollow and they're like a little spicy and sweet. Go to H Mart.
So it's an interesting one. I like all foods and things. And currently in life, probably not for this, but a gallstone. I've had to cut out all sugar and fat. So it's been an interesting adventure in what's left to eat when you can't eat, and I'm also vegetarian.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome having Adam and all of those people here doing it live. You can like show them everything like that, and then they can lift it up to the customers and all that stuff. Super.
It's amazing. I mean, there is a good collaboration between hackers, Triager from Backrowd and the customer. They seem very collaborative, you can just ask questions, you can just negotiate about severity, whatever. Yeah. So I like how they triage submission. This company seems more like a family. You can ask if you are to get many points on Backrowd, where you can just contact triagers if you have some doubts or whatever, which is something that is not present on every platform. And I think that makes a lot easier to just discuss about a submission, because if you post like a comment in a submission, it's going to take a bit for a reply, obviously, because triagers have a lot of submission to manage. So this thing that you can contact in DM triager is better, I guess, to manage outcomes of submissions. Yeah.
Having the triagers is amazing. The ability to determine what's in scope and out of scope, or just simply ask questions of them or the customer. Usually that takes 1, 2, 3 days when you're working remotely. Just to have them there and being able to point directly at something is very, very helpful. Very friendly, very cooperative, very helpful. There's a few specific individuals that have gone out of their way tremendously to help, and I couldn't thank them enough.
They're the best in the business. They're all excellent. They're all more than capable and on top of it and professional, and some of them have accents, and that's pretty cool too.
I admire them greatly for everything they do. They do a lot, especially when we get like bursts of submissions or popular programs on the platform that just literally get blown out of the water. I appreciate they work all the time. They're very thorough. You would think like the more submissions you have, the less, I guess, care will be put into them because they're focused on keeping their SLAs, but it's like, I admire them because they don't do that, right? We're human, we make mistakes, but like they literally triage thousands of submissions and they communicate if they need help, and they're focused on making sure that customer is taken care of for triage. So they do a lot of work and I admire them. I will be on the triage team one day. So yeah, that's my goal. if that was a question.
The triage folks, they're fantastic. I mean, they're such hard workers. They just power through the amount of so many subs every day. They've been really helpful here. I love that they're actually here and amongst all the hackers themselves. It's not separated. They're here to help. You know, they can answer questions. They can provide advice. They can tell you what's going to be going through, or where you might need to improve with the writing of the submission or showing impact. It's really good to see them get involved, because I feel like, on the work side, they're potentially seen as a bit of a clash sometimes between the researchers and the triagers, because the triagers obviously have to be that intermediary between the customer and the researcher, so they don't always get what they want. So I think it's a good bonding kind of exercise for them. Overall, I mean, there's some amazing skills in there, but it's also a good way to kind of move further up in the industry if you're sort of new, I guess, to the scene. You get an incredible amount of exposure to different types of hacks and vulnerabilities and exploits, and you can absorb all of that knowledge from the best in the world. So I think a lot of the triagers are very knowledgeable and experienced.
They're crushing it. I think last year it was a little more hectic, so they took their notes and their lessons learned and they've made the necessary improvements. So I think it's going really well.
I had some submission that I didn't get any money out of that yet, but it's probably going to be more impactful than the previous one. But I still don't know how it's going to be managed, so we'll see.
It's part of a program that I don't know if I'm allowed to speak of the name of, but it does a lot of security cameras and a lot of smart devices. And one of the submissions was it was allowed to take over of every single one of those devices across the planet. So it was very important to kind of get that one locked up. So there was something like 3 million devices, something like that, that could have potentially been taken over. Getting that taken care of felt good.
Are you allowed to say what the payout was or how it was?
The payout was something like 16,000 or so.
That's an interesting question. It's been 8 years and there's been a lot of reports on it. I think it's the reports, not a specific one, but just generally when they're appreciated. When the programs respond back that it's made a difference, that's the real impactful ones that, because there's lots of bounties, there's lots of points, and at the same time, knowing what you do being valued and being appreciated, that happens often. So that's, I guess, the best favorite part for me.
It's been remarkable. I think we are now as a community seen as like a fundamental part of the immune system of the internet. You think about what we do, like we go around looking for things that aren't the way that they should be, and we point them out in a way that allows them to get fixed. It's kind of how your immune system works in your body, right? The shift that I've seen, the metaphor I like to use is that we had an autoimmune deficiency, like collectively as an internet and as a population on the internet, and that's starting to go away. I say starting to because the job's nowhere near done yet. I think, in the case of vulnerability disclosure programs, for example, like that should just be a normal part of doing business on the internet, like receiving that kind of input from the outside world, including hackers. And a lot of people do it now, but not everyone. There's a lot of moves to normalize that, and those things are moving in the right direction. And I think the image of the hacker kind of benefits from that. Yeah, I think going forward, you can kind of see some of the stuff that's happening from a policy standpoint as well. Like the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act was written in 1986 after Ronald Reagan watched war games and freaked out and said, we need to make this illegal. But because that was a fundamentally different internet and a different day, it was written in a way that criminalized all of this stuff. And we've only just seen changes made to that law in the past 2 years or so, partly as the result of efforts of bug crowders and other folk around. So, there's a lot more work to do, but it's moving in the right direction.
There's still a lot of people who are not up to date, but I think companies like ours are doing a great job in elevating hackers that are willing to do the right thing and get rewarded for the right thing like they deserve. And so yeah, I think it's trending positive.
That they don't all live in mommy's basement wearing a hoodie in the corner and just typing their life away. Of course, over the years, as people have understood the importance of cybersecurity, they've understood the importance of hackers as well. Like, yeah, you do have the ones that you don't want to deal with because they just don't have good intentions for you and they just want as much money as they can get from these clients. But a majority of hackers want to help people. And, Bugcrowd's made it possible for that to happen. They can get paid for their skill and get paid really well and help customers at the same time. I really do think it's turned from a negative, mostly negative, to mostly positive and just focused on making things better. Good hackers.
I definitely think that it's more well understood now that pen testing and bug bounties exist, so people who are hacking aren't necessarily out there committing crimes, but I will say there are times when I mention that I work for a company that does hacking that I still get a few weird looks, so we're not quite there yet.
No, no gods, no masters, no heroes.
I mean, Sami is my hero. Yeah, Sami Kemker. That's a meme from the MySpace hack that kind of made him famous, partly tongue-in-cheek, but he is one of my heroes. He's a phenomenal educator, incredible hacker. He's one of those people that just takes an entire system, tips it upside down, and looks for the things that fall out and just completely rewrites assumptions in the process of doing that. So I love how he does his stuff. Grace Hopper, you know, I actually view her as a hacker. I don't think would be kind of classically considered as a hacker in that way, but when you think about what she was doing at the time, you know, a woman in tech, a rear admiral in the Navy, like literally wrote the precursor to COBOL, which was the precursor to most of the languages we use today, all those different things in the 50s and the 60s. Like, that's phenomenal. So she's definitely a hero as well.
Wow, is this marketing 101? Jesus Christ. Can't say cats because all the cat ladies are going to be angry at me then. Can't say dog either, can we? Kangaroo? Is that what it is? Aussie people?
For Australia,
Yeah.
they kick your ass if you're not paying attention.
Yeah. Sounds like bug crunch.
A kangaroo.
Kangaroo we go for.
I don't like a dingo.
Dingo. Co-dingo.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what type of.
That's a
I don't know
dog
if they're
stylish.
nice or, like aggressive. I don't know.
Eat your small children.
I freak out, right?
Yeah, everybody's gotta eat something.
Yeah.
Yeah, meat. Love you, Co-dingo. And happy birthday, Adam.
A Labrador? I don't know what.
A German Shepherd.
I have a lot of opinions on dogs. I'm gonna say Bug Crowd is a smiley pit bull. I love pit bulls too. I've had pit bulls my whole life, and they're a dog that can be just as sweet as they can sprint and jump and annoy you sometimes to get what they want, you know, chase down what they need, and I think that's a good metaphor.
There's a llama dog. I would say a pit bull. Pit bulls, I love them to death. I have one, Harley Quinn. Shout out to my dog. But I do feel like, unfortunately, I do have that name behind them, like they're vicious or they're mean. They basically just know what they want, right? They're very territorial. The reason why I feel Bug Crowd is equivalent to pit bull is because we're fierce, we look fierce, you know, but at the end of the day, we're for the researchers, we're for the customers, we're all for making people happy and making sure that they're as secure as they can be, say that lightly. Fierce on the outside and warm and fuzzy on the inside.
German Shepherd.
It would be a cat. It would be a cat, and it would be a Maine Coon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what we're going for. Yeah.
I only know in my life a Shetland sheepdog that was our puppy, and it was loving and caring, and I feel the same way with Bug Crowd, so that's the one I can speak to.
Oh, wow. An Australian Border Collie, I would say. Like, very friendly, very functional, great dogs, low maintenance, great companions, and they're useful. They're actually sheepdogs in Australia. So yeah, that would be my answer. Yeah, smart, yep, they're very clever. Yeah, I had to think about that one because I'm not a huge dog person, but like, yeah, no, it's a Border Collie. I like that.
Yeah.
That works.
I think at the end of the day, it's all going to boil down to human touch, because I think the hacking is going to be, the bleeding edge people are always going to be the people who are most personally creative, and then the people who are defending, triaging, writing defense to it, they're going to have to adapt to that. AI will be able to keep up with AI, and then everything else is human creativity, and that's where we come from, and that's, I think, where we're going to head.
Everyone thinks that AI is going to take over the world. I don't think so. I think even though it is helpful to many people, I think that it could be also people's demise, because now they're relying on AI to work for them, and that's just not going to work. So I don't think it's going to take over. I think with the right, input from people and knowledge from people, it could be great. but you still at the same time have to be very careful. Like, you don't want to put like your personal information and stuff like that. And you sure as hell don't want to use AI to do your job because it's your job, not the, you know, chat with the whatever bot. I think it's come a long way. I think it has a very long way to go. I think it's super great, but I don't think we're at a point where robots are going to take over the world. Good, but only use it if you need it.
I'm not really sure, to be honest. It changes so fast and so frequently. I mean, the half-life of knowledge in cyber is like 3 years, whereas in the medical industry it's like 50 years. Even where we are now, you know, with the release of OpenAI earlier this year and the programs that were made available to us, I never would have seen that coming even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you know, for a lot of us. I think we're at kind of a bit of a precipice where it's going to either go in a direction that none of us are really expecting, or it's just going to continue along this path with the assistance of AI. And it enables a lot of people to sort of get involved a bit more at the same time, because they've got that additional potential support of covering some weaknesses of maybe their own skill sets, of which they could use. But yeah, I don't see the people aspect of it disappearing anytime soon. There's a lot that can be said for the mind of a human hacker. I don't really have a good answer, to be honest, in terms of the future of where it's going. I'm always trying to predict it myself and try and get ahead of it in terms of, you know, where we're going for the business unit and whatnot. But a big thing is kind of bringing, especially for pen testing, kind of bringing it out of the past. It's a little bit antiquated these days, especially around the mindset of, I guess, businesses and customers looking for the security from it. You know, just because you've had a pen test doesn't mean you are secure. It just means that those assets have had a good looking at. You know, you've found the most obvious kind of vulnerabilities, but you never know what's going to be changed. You make one change in the environment and that could have a cascading effect across it. So the biggest thing would be bringing kind of pen testing to a more future state. And that doesn't mean pen testing as a service as some of the places are kind of putting it forward as, which ends up being sort of vulnerability scanning 2.0. It is actually creating a proper pen testing as a service, utilizing, you know, the resources that you have at your fingertips, being the crowd and so many people, and really bringing that knowledge across from the bounty space, especially into the pen testing space.
Yeah, I mean, it's always changing. It's changed so much, even just from when I started learning and getting involved. I think AI is something that people can be a little bit frightened by, but I think you got to work with it, right? I don't think AI is going to come in and take over the world or take all of our jobs. I think the people who are going to be the most successful are the ones who embrace it and try to use it rather than just sort of run away from it. But I don't know what it's going to look like. It's always changing, so it could be anything.
Weird. I think weirder at a faster rate. I think, you know, new technologies, there's been a thing, you know, I kind of coined a theory around this at one point. The quicker a new technology is adopted, the more dramatic it becomes when it breaks, and when people realize some of the security assumptions that weren't correct, things fall over, right? You see that with like connected cars, with IoT, with it's a long, I mean, even web apps, when they first dropped, there was that kind of moment. I think AI and machine learning has no exception to that, and the way that it's kind of dropped itself, you know, into the minds of everyone over the past 6 months, to me suggests that there's going to be a lot of things that we find out that we didn't quite plan for. And the rate of that's going to be quite sudden. So that's an interesting one. We're already seeing that pop up in different places. You know, you see the White House writing, you know, regulation and EOs on technology that, you know, most of the people, no offense to them, but like they've only just begun to understand it. So like to see that kind of reaction in that shorter time frame, that to me is reflective of the fact that like this is going to be pretty impactful, and the cycle's speeding up. Your technology speeds up. The whole purpose is to make it more accessible, put it in the hands of more people. That creates a faster security consequence. And, you know, as a bad guy, I look at that and think, okay, cool. But that's a, you know, fluid attack surface that people probably don't know how to secure. I'm going to go off and make my money or do my thing. Every new advance in technology kind of speeds up. So when I say it gets weirder quicker, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Because every time it happens, it's like, oh, that's strange. I've never considered that before. And the reality is it's not. It's kind of predictable. It's just new, right? But the cycles of that are accelerating. And I think, you know, when you think about probably the other part there that I'd call out is that this idea of, you know, it takes an army of allies to outsmart an army of adversaries. They've all got access to the same tools. And there's this cat and mouse game between attackers and defenders. AI is a very powerful set of tools in both sets of hands. So this idea of them one-upping each other as they do their thing, I think that's going to speed up as well.
Advice for beginner hackers. I would say learn software development and kind of understand what your software is doing and just kind of work your way up the platform. Start small, make something small, reverse engineer it yourself and kind of see how it works.
Study for certifications, try to talk to people if you can, even people who are at companies that may have security teams. If you're able to like, hey, can I get a lunch set up with this guy? I think I had like 5 or 6 people who I never knew before. Everyone is so generous and wants you to be involved. If you're interested, I think that's one of the biggest things is just showing interest and showing that you care and that you're willing to put in the time and work. And we've had, even in like my friend group or people who I've worked with in the past, we've been able to elevate each other in different positions because we work in the industry all together. And I think just bringing a new person in like that, everyone wants to bring in a new person in if they're interested. And so just show interest and try to, you know, get face time with people when you can.
Network. I know that people hear that all the time, but like what I've noticed, like that's like my thing. Like I want to help people get into the field. I want to like get off of like what people think they need, i.e. paying for certs or paying people to like get them into the industry. I don't believe in that. I believe like if you're focused and you have the drive and you know what you're looking for and you network with people that are in the field, because cybersecurity is huge, right? So find what you want to do, find what interests you and network with people or a person in that field and just work your way up, and like the knowledge is like limitless. So definitely network. Use LinkedIn, Twitter, X, whatever it is now, to like just network with people.
Honestly, use the resources that are available freely to you on the internet. You don't need to spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars on universities or boot camps. There's so much out there that you can learn online, so just use those.
Yeah, people often reach out, often want to share it. I don't have all the secrets, all the bugs, and that to follow often what's interest, opportunity, necessities. There's something that's interesting to you involved in the field of hacking, that's like awesome to go in that path. Opportunity if you're maybe forced into something for work or school or life, like I gotta learn this there, well, try to bring that over to apply to the hacking. And then necessity, like if you're forced, might as well make the best of a difficult situation. Because if, I guess we can't go uphill all day or for 6 months or a year, so if you're trying to set yourself up for success, and if the aspect of hacking is something that you enjoy, the rest will come if you're having fun and it's interesting.
Come ho già detto, la cosa importante è essere curiosi, andare oltre le apparenze, specialmente se un bug non sembra, nel senso se qualcosa non sembra vulnerabile, andare sempre oltre e trovare sempre modi nuovi per escalare la vulnerabilità. Comunque essere sempre curiosi di esplorare, studiare e collegare i puntini, diciamo, per fare in modo che una vulnerabilità, anche se senza nessun impatto, diventi veramente importante per il cliente e venga opportunamente pagata, diciamo.